Hey folks, this is going to be a quick video on getting Jupyter set up for both Python and R. If you have never looked at Jupyter, it used to be called IPython Notebooks. Then they've expanded their scope. It is a pretty interesting tool for developing and sharing code, right? So you can create pretty interesting little documents. You can convert them into a number of different formats. You can share the code very easily. If you're part of the CU Business Analytics program, you'll probably know that I use Jupyter quite a bit to demonstrate some of the functional programming concepts in R that we discussed. So I'm going to be using it also in the next couple of videos, talking about object-oriented programming and functional programming. And so if you wanted to follow along, I thought it would be a good idea to cover installing Jupyter for both Python and R. So here we are, we're in our little setup. So the first thing I would encourage you to do, if you haven't already, is to go back and watch the video on getting virtual environments set up, because we're going to be using them right now, right? So if you've watched that video, you'll know that I have a Python 3 virtual environment called Crypsis, right? And I've already installed Jupyter on this installation, right? But if you want to do it, you can go to their website, which is jupyter.org. I'll put that link in the comments of the video. If you click on install, it's going to give you a couple of different options. Now it's going to talk about sort of the easy way, which is to install Anaconda, which is a distribution of Python. Now, if you've already been going down the path of getting it installed in Linux or using Homebrew, if you're on OS X, then this is going to be unnecessary. Anaconda it's a neat tool, but I think we get a bit more flexibility using sort of our own configured version of Python. So we're going to go down here to experienced Python developers, right? Which, I mean, it's not that hard. You're just going to do it with pip. So you would do pip3 install Jupyter. I've already done it, but you would type it right here into your terminal, and you would hit enter, and away you go. Now, again, I've already done this, but you would go through that process, let it go. Now, make sure that you are, once again, make sure that you have set up a virtual environment, and you are a Python 3 virtual environment, and you are installing Jupyter into that virtual environment. Again, we want to make sure we're avoiding any package dependency collisions, especially with the system native Python, right? So that's that, right? We are done. Now, this will, by default, only install the kernel, or sort of like the driver for Python, right? We're probably interested in getting the kernel for R also installed, right? So we're going to look here, installing kernels, right? So we're going to say, well, we want to see a list of kernels, right? So here's a full list of available kernels. And if you wanted to do R, it's this IR kernel right here. And you can see that it's for R 3.2 and above, right? So let's follow this link. And here's the web page. This looks interesting. Let's click on installation, okay? Now, once again, I've already done this, but we can run through the steps. So now, I would strongly recommend that you continue to work from a terminal environment rather than using RStudio or the native R app or anything like that. If you've never tried it before, assuming you have R installed on your system, you can just type R, and it'll spit you into R right here, right? And then you're going to follow these steps right here. So we're going to have to install these packages, right? You can basically just copy and paste this stuff out of this file. And again, I'll link this this website in the description below. And then you're going to have to use DevTools, right? Normally when we're working with R, right, you sort of say library and then the package that you want to load, and then you can use all the commands. This is just a little shortcut. If you only need to do little one-off things, you can say the library itself and then this : and that's saying in DevTools use this function, right? And so you'll notice that this IR kernel, we're not installing it in the normal way. We're installing it off of GitHub. It's fine. You can follow the link and you can check out their Git repo. But this is going to be how we install this bit through here, right? So you can copy and paste the first one and then copy and paste the second one right out of here. Then we need to go through this installation step. And now, once again, so it's going to say that you want to do this in a terminal environment rather than the R app or RStudio or anything like that. Again, it's because it needs to do this path change. So from within R in your terminal, right, you're going to copy and paste this line right here, right? And if you want to do it system-wide, and if you're the only user on your computer, it's your own laptop or something like that, this first line will be fine. But if you're on a multi-user system and you wanted to set it up for every user, you could do this command right here. But you execute that command, it'll go through some steps, and you should be good to go. Now, how do you actually run Jupyter? Let's take a look. So I'm actually going to quit R. No, we don't want to save. So here we're back on our system. Our virtual environment is still active. And all I'm going to do, let's go into, let's see, I think I've made a little test folder here. And all I do is Jupyter Notebook, right? And when I hit this, it starts up a server, and notice how my website, my browser, Chrome in this case, fired me into this local host, right? And here we are at the basic Jupyter menu, and I'll let you read through all the documentation and sort of start to experiment on your own. But some of the main things you want to do is you want to click on New, and then you should have some options for the type of notebook you want. So if we wanted to, say, get into a Python notebook, you click this one. Let's take a look at an R notebook just to test that installation. Here we are, and now I can start typing some code, right? So let's do this, and we'll do this, right? Now, if I want to actually get a new interpreter and run this line, the shortcut is Shift-Enter. So that seems to have gone. So if I do, let's say, plot XY, and Shift-Enter this, oh, that's cool. It seems to be working, right? So that's a very quick intro into how to install Jupyter on your system. Again, this is a pretty deep subject. I would recommend that you look into it. Oh, one more very important thing. To get out of this, right? So I can save changes, I can name things by clicking on this. But if I'm done, I can close this right here. Do you want to leave the site? Yeah, I don't want to save that right now. To quit, right? And it'll say so somewhere up here. Use Control-C to stop the server, just like any other terminal command. Control-C in your terminal environment. It'll ask you if you want to shut down the server. You say yes, and it'll shut down. If you're still on the website here, it might give you a warning that it's lost connection. If you ever wanted to restart it, same thing again. Just Jupyter Notebook, right? So check it out. Have a good time. Jupyter's a great tool. I'll see you in the next video.